All right, guys, how is it going? Sean Darling here. I think we are streaming. I'm sitting here looking at the camera, trying to anyway. We are building. Whoops, let me close this. I just made a little YouTube title there, and I don't want to be doing that. We are making a VR gallery today. I'm just continuing on what I've already done. I'm about to add a second floor staircase to this to kind of see where I'm at and what I'm doing. I can't find my mouse here for some reason. That's never a good thing. Looks like it's trying to update, and it's quite possible I can't do two things at the same time. So I'm gonna close out Photoshop for the moment because it's just eating up some of our precious RAM here. And no, I'm not going to save that. And we'll just stay on Unreal and OBS and hope that everything's good. At some point I'll be putting the VR goggles on and walking through this and so on. I don't know what this little spline is here though. I'm going to go ahead and kind of come in here and try to select it and or delete it. I'm not sure why it's in here. I'll just be talking at random though, so this isn't a tutorial in any way. I'm just letting you guys see kind of what I'm doing. And this should be toward the bottom. There's something called spline actor. Here we go. There's one there. There's probably one right there. Yep, we don't need it. I was just probably experimenting with something. And right behind me here is going to be a big hole in the floor. Because I believe, oh yeah, okay. That is not even going to be seen from inside the gallery here at the moment anyway. So what we're going to do is take a piece of the floor from inside the gallery here, but probably not that much floor. I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scale this piece down, which is probably going to totally screw up the pattern on it, but you know what? I'll work that out in a bit, and I think that's about where we're going to put our he'll be able to talk in a minute, I guess. Our let me turn off the snapping as well. That is where we will be able to put any of the staircase or whatever we need. I'm gonna just squeeze that piece of floor up so I can replace this one now with another piece. Anything that sticks out here won't even matter, so this one's just going to get duplicated. We just go to edit duplicate on that and copy and paste this guy over and move it so that it's going to be taking up the same amount of floor. Let me just kind of navigate. If I'm clumsy at all on this today, I'm not a real adept Unreal user yet. I've been using it for some time and trying to get a bunch of stuff done. And I've started a bunch of projects, got through a lot of learning, and now I'm just trying to put this together. As you can see here, here's our Griffin's Egg Enterprises image. I am definitely thinking about making that shorter, but we're not going to leave this one on here. This one's going to become something else because we do have a second floor down below. As you can see, we need to also make the floor above here a ceiling, and so that will be all covered and we won't see up to both levels. You can see there's a nice image of me in a wizard hat over here, and we've got an image of the girl that played in, what is the name of that? Ashes, yeah. And then we've got a bunch of other stuff going on. This over here will be where the Lower Reaver Games section will be. I've got a whole sculpture sections of stuff that's going to be in here. It's going to feel definitely like not a gallery. It's going to feel a little bit more like you came into my mind. That was the point of it. There'll be things that are animated, and it's all in VR. We've already got the VR stuff all working, so that headache is not a big worry, because a lot of the times it will be a headache. I'm just going to go now and throw in a cube here that's going to act as our ceiling from below, and also start to give us this opening that we need in the floor and thickness to that floor. So I'm just going to come here and grab a basic shape here, cube. This one is here. I'm just going to try to size it appropriately here. I'm going to bring it up and over and kind of trying to figure out where this ceiling would be once we get everything squished down. I give it some thickness, maybe about like that, and move that over. So this is going to take a minute to kind of sort out. I need to make some pieces that are approximately the same size as the pieces of the tile floor. That will help it, and this will help me here. Look, if I just move this over a little bit and click, now we are the correct size from here to here. But I need to get something that's the same size as this chunk. So I'm just going to keep moving this around. And unfortunately, I would have to go into modeling mode, which I guess I can. I probably should, now that I think about it, to get this an exact size and shape that I want. So we'll just have that selected. I'm going to go over here to modeling mode and do some modeling. Not the kind that I used to do, because that didn't involve clothing. I'm kidding. Okay, so now we're going to go into here to our model mode, and camera's moving a little bit fast, and we might not be able to select that through this door, but we're going to get really annoyed. Let's go ahead and slow our camera down by clicking and reducing our speed here. That way I can move very slow. We need to select this model, and we need to polygroup edit, and you notice this is all one polygroup. We do not want that. So I think we decompose. I know it sounds weird, but while that is selected, I think I just go decompose, and then it should work, but I'm not seeing it happen. I'm going to say accept, and then polygroup edit. We should have separate polygroups. I'm not seeing that though, so let's figure out why. What I could do is actually create a block from in here, and that seems to work as well, but there should be a way. This is what I keep dealing with all the time, learning things I haven't really done a lot. I don't really model in here, so that's the problem I'm having. Let's go back here. That should be, I don't want to polycut, I just want to edit. Use the group generation, group point, or try selection to create a polygroup tools to modify in polygroup. So this says use group gen. Now where is that? That'd be really handy if we knew where that was. Let's see. I am not seeing that anywhere. Generate extra corners. Nope. Let's see, is it in create? Disconnect, connect, duplicate, edge loop, which that's all good. Delete edges, planar projection. See, it has everything except for what it's telling you to look for. That's my favorite thing ever. So let's try to decompose, disconnect. I don't want to see a separate polygon for each triangle, but see, the problem with that is it's not doing that. Cannot modify built-in engine as I see what's going on. So when we create boxes from the simple shapes, they do not work. We need to create a box here that has polygroups already on it. So hey, save the day. Let's go ahead and speed our camera up just slightly. Now we can move around a little easier and actually get started. Imagine that. I'm just going to make this a bit bigger that way and a bit bigger this way and a lot smaller this way to act as the floor, to give it that the proper thickness. And now with the widgets that we have, I'm just going to move this about to where they should be. I'm going to intersect the floor so I know how to place that piece. Let's get this just right about there. That's probably the wrong size, but for this inner part it'll be absolutely fine. So we'll just get it right there. And now we'll start scaling these out by polygroups. And by doing that, all this headache that you saw me do, it makes the modeling of it a little easier, because now I can come in here and say, let's find where this is at. We have to accept, I keep forgetting that, and we have to select this by polygroup. On polygroup edit, you can see now I can select the separate sides, which make life so much easier to be able to do it that way. And I'm just going to pull this one up until it is the same length as about there, which is where that other floor is going to end. You can see right there in that corner. I'm just going to kind of go like so, and now that will yeah, cover that perfectly, and we have a piece of floor. That one is also now, if I move it as a group, or choose the transform, but not by polygon, I'm going to have to come out of modeling mode real quick. The selection mode, oh, I did not accept. Darn it. Okay, back into modeling mode. When you make a movement with the modeling mode here, or you need to accept it, otherwise it will not keep it, what you just went through painstakingly and done. So we'll do that one more time. Right there, and we're good to go. Yep, and now you want to come on here and accept. Yay. Cool. So now I'm going to figure out how big each one of these floor panel pieces needs to be by selecting one of the regulars. You can see we're not wide enough here to do that. So we're going to go into polygroup, edit on this cube, and we are going to grab this polygroup and move it over until we know we're at the end of that piece. So I just got to kind of figure out where it's at. I believe that right there, that line I'm seeing is it. We accept again, and now I can select the, I'm just going to move this temporarily to make sure. And that looks about right, so boop. And while we have that, that is our first floor panel, because we need thickness to the floor to be able to have the roof here, as you can see, solid, because it's not going to be solid anywhere else. And we need to move this down far enough to where the floor shows through it like so. And then we'll need to put a material on it and then duplicate it. That's going to be our next floor up. There will probably be another staircase somewhere once we create this one. So let's go ahead and make sure this has UVs. Not sure exactly what they need to be, what needs to be done to them, but I think that's all right. I'm going to go auto UV on it. There we go. And now you can see that, I know it's checkerboard, but it won't always be. You can see these UVs that don't look so great. In fact, they look like garbage because you can see the way they're laid out. So we're going to go to auto UVs again, and I'm going to double check here what method we're going to use on these. So this says Atlas that way. This says X Atlas, which is also probably going to be wrong. Actually, that's not bad. So let's use the X Atlas. I think that one is safe to use. And if you can tell, do those look square? Actually, they do. It's just the camera making them look not square because we're using a pretty wide focal length. And so now that that's done, we can give it a material and it will work. So right now it says checkerboard. We're just going to use that until we accept. We're going to go back out of modeling mode here now to selection mode, and now we can put a material on this. I know it seems like a lot of trouble, but it's really worth it. It's something, to me, I always wanted to do because it'll look cool. It'll be something I can show the world in one go. If you want to know what I'm about, what I make, what I am working on, what I'm thinking about, just things I've imagined, you can come here in this VR world and learn stuff about me or see things I'm working on and stuff. I think it's the best way to have a maybe a portfolio or something like that, because you don't have to do this in any other way. I'm just going to now probably open up another what do you call it, another program here, and just kind of take a look about making a AI generated texture, which is a great way to use this stuff. So you guys gonna bash on me, just go. But if you get it, I mean, you can understand why people would use it for different things. It's not stealing anything from anybody to do that, for sure. Let's just look here. Materials, engine materials. Is there anything in here I can actually use this way, or are these just basics? That's just like a mix of texture. I think these are just the fundamental types of textures, not necessarily textures or materials. There's material templates, but I'm not sure these are what I'm looking for either. Those are maps, templates, tutorial. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is open up. Let's use Substance Sampler, which is a pretty cool Adobe product right here that I am licensed to use. And I suggest you could do this. You could use, obviously Midjourney or something, or just go out and take photos and whatever. But what's cool about this is not only can you take a photo, say, of something that you've wanted to make a texture out of, not just a texture, you can make an entire material out of it based on a photo, or you can generate now within the program. You don't even have to take a photo of the texture. You can generate what you want and then make that into a material and then bring it into Unreal as a set of maps, which is pretty cool. So it's loading the application here. Let's just go ahead and create new. So we start off with this ball. Hopefully I'm not going to make a fool out of myself because I get lost in a lot of the programs these days. But let's just say you had some wood, right? And this is just an example. You can go right here, image to material. Pretty dang cool. There's other ways of doing this, but let's just go image to material. We'll say yes, and it'll think, it'll do its thing, and hopefully it's not going to give me issues. It is giving me an issue. Oh, because it's a WebP image, it doesn't like those. So let's just open up this here, or okay, hang on. Of course it's going to do it during a live stream. This is what it's meant to do. Maybe I can undo that. There we go. There's other ways you can do it, of course, but it shouldn't be a WebP image. So I'm going to go find this. Let's see what this wood looks like first of all. If it'll bring up a bigger image. I don't see. Let me see if I just drop this on here if this is something we can use as well. But it's loading up here in the upper right, and this we're just going to tell it, hey, it's fine. We're not using that. And then when this is done, there we go. We've got a nice kind of woodish texture, and it's going to keep building on itself until it's at a point where it's what we want. You can make this as detailed as you want and higher resolution and so forth, however you need to do it. You can change the color of it, the saturation of the color, everything. And this could all be also based on a single photo. So you can make, what I'm getting at, you can make really cool materials in here really, really quickly. So for the gallery, I want to make a ceiling material. That's what we were looking at there. We need to make a ceiling material, and I'm just going to run back over here and figure out what that's going to be. So let's try with a new project, and we can, don't save that one. And let me see if there's something we can just do here. Like I said, I'm not 100% completely knowledgeable about this as well, but let me see what comes up when I kind of I don't do a lot this way, so today's a great day of experimentation. I'm just going to drag something on here and see what happens. We use that as let's use it as its normal, so it will give us a depth, a texture, like the actual relief of it. So we've got some noise here. You can see that's quite a bit. It's quite detailed, heavy also. So the intensity is a little up. So I'm going to zoom back in here and pull that normal intensity down to about half and see what that looks like. It's a little better. We've got this nice sort of bumpiness to that. It looks like a bit of a rough wall. We can change, I believe, the where I can find it here, the size of it and the shininess of it, or anything else you want. I'm just looking at the tiling if I can find it. This is just the standard material properties. I'm looking for the tiling, which would be probably here, but I think this is resolution. So there is another thing you can put in here, and I'm just going to look at this asset here. I'm going to put tiling and see if this is where you find it, because here's tiling. I can just drop that right on top as far as I know, and it will add the tiling layer to it, supposedly. So now we've got a tiling property up here, and if I click on the tiling property, that should bring up the parameters here. So we don't want to show the seams, we'll leave that off. paint seam cut, so it'll try to hide these seams. So now if I go, I'm gonna go smoothness and just try to really, I don't know if it's gonna wipe those out or not. We'll make the resolution bigger, smaller. There we go. Now if we go up bigger, now we'll have more of these cuts, of course. Hopefully it'll show us some of them. And here's all the cut offsets we don't want, because this will start making gaps, I believe. Yeah, we don't want gaps. I'm gonna go 0 on those. And smoothness, I'm not really seeing. I would really like these to be a lot more, a lot smaller. So we're gonna leave that at 2048 because there's no reason for this to be a bigger texture. Here's the seams. When you say show seam, it definitely shows them. Paint seam cut, that way it probably, I think this is an automatic paint over. I don't really, it's not automatic for sure, I guess. Detect edges, let's just turn it off and see what happens. Is that going to help us? Yes, it is. Cool. So now we're going to hopefully be able to increase the scaling here, input size. Let's just see what happens when we go 8. Let's see what happens when we go 1. Okay, this looks like offsets still, does it not? Which is not what we want, and that's what's happening here. You see this in the window. So we're gonna undo those. I'm just poking around, guys. If anybody's wondering what in the heck does he think he's doing, yeah, just poking around to try and figure out what's going to give me a higher repetition resolution. This says 1, and maybe that is what I want. That looks like to be exactly what I want. So we're going to go to 2, and you see that's going to get me my repetitions, which is going to make this detail larger. Exactly what I wanted, because we're going to get that sort of popcorny ceiling look. So lots of poking around until everything looks right. And I don't believe we need any this way, because those are going to skew. Yeah, no skewing. Otherwise we'll skew it up. Good to go. So we can add all these different kind of filters and things like that onto here to create this. So I think let's just look, see what we've got in here. We got denim, felt. I don't know what Georgette is. That's a girl's name that I thought existed. Hop sack. I don't know what that is. It sounds like something you don't want to catch on a spiky nail on a board when you're jumping over a fence. Let's see, nylon, paper, pebbles, plastic, plaster sounds might be helpful. Let's just do that and see what it does. And now it might overwrite or cover up, which it does kinda, but it looks really good though. But if I take that, and I think you can kind of make holes and things to where you can see through to the other layer below it. I don't know for sure. I haven't used this one a lot. There was another thing called image to material I used to use, and that's what this came from. So if I go down the roughness, you'll see it'll make that a much shinier plaster. Layers density, let's just turn that up and see what happens. Yeah, that's too dense. We'll make it less dense, and then what happens? So it's gonna, yeah, break that up a lot more. We make the roughness just a little lower, and it's gonna make it almost like it's painted underneath or something, or a little wetter kind of vibe. I'm just looking. So lots of imperfections or not, smoothness. Let's pull this smoothness down, just see what it looks like. Not sure exactly what I'm attempting here, but remember, this is my mind, and I think if all the ceilings look damaged, it's probably about right. The normal intensity you can turn up. I better turn that down because I am not normal at all. That is just a joke. Let's just go ahead and pop that back to about middle. Looks good. Height, range, position. Yeah, that's all fine. But I don't know if this is what I want. I just wanted to see what this plaster looked like. If there was something, and why popcorn ceiling? I don't even know why I said that. It's probably not what we're going to use, but I'm going to bring this in as a general material for a ceiling. So let's go ahead and export these textures out. Hopefully it works exactly like Substance Painter, which would be really nice. And we're going to use this as a PNG, a set of stuff. So we have a base color, a normal, a roughness, and metallic. Exactly what we want. No alpha needed. And let's figure out where we're going to, or how we're going to use this. Blender cycles, even no. We want to use like PBR, workflow. That says we don't want that one. Let me see if there's another one though. Maybe we might have to take that one. So there's not an Unreal, which kind of is a big bummer, because that seems like it would be just one of the standards, but we're just gonna go ahead, I guess. Why is Unity here? Ugh, Unreal Engine 4, that's what we want. We're gonna take the Unreal version because it puts the occlusion, roughness, and metallic in a combination material using the RGB channels for the occlusion, the roughness, and the metallic. So RGB equates to ORM, so it's called an ORM material. Anyway, base color and normal, and that we're going to go ahead and export this out, and let me figure out where it's going to put it, because honestly it didn't give me an option, which is different. Let's try this one more time and see where it's putting it. So I'll go export again. It's going into there, and we don't want there, so I'm going to do it one more time, otherwise I'm going to have to go in and find it. So here we go. Everything's still set good. Let's go back to that PNG, or the general settings, sorry, and decide where we're going to put this. Let me go search for the folder path here. We're going to put this F. We're going to go, I thought I had a name for this. I'm just going to make a new folder here, and we're going to put VR gallery, and I'll come back and find everything else to put in it after the fact. So we're going to put that there. Pow. Now we've got a folder. The material is going to be named Sean Ceiling 1. Perfect. I think that's how you spell ceiling. And we're going to export that as PNGs. Let me just double check that all of these for Unreal Engine 4, and that looks good. Even though we're using Unreal Engine 5.4, it's the same texture system. So once that's out, we can just either shrink this down or turn it off. And hey, looky here, we're going to go into our content drawer. We're going to import a material. Don't look at any of this. We're just going to go to VR Gallery. I always say please don't read my folder names, because sometimes they say things that I don't want people to see. I'm kidding. Here we go, VR Gallery, Sean Ceiling 1, and here's our materials. We're just going to grab those. We're going to say open. We didn't really want to put them into this material templates folder though, so we can just grab them and move them into another folder. Right now I'm just going to put them here into the content folder, just that layer. We'll select all three of these like so, drag them over. That's the beauty of Unreal, is that they make this stuff easy. Move here, so now we're going to go back here and they will be there. And I'm going to pick, just going to go and create a new folder here, and we're going to call this Sean, not that they need to say that, but textures or materials, because textures and materials are different. And look, it's giving me a warning that I can't have a space, so I'm going to put an underscore materials. Yep. The guys I was working with the game company about a year and a half ago would really love to know, probably, that I actually have learned Unreal to this level, because a lot has changed. So back into Sean Materials, just drag those over there and say move here, and they go inside. So we're going to look here. There they are. We want to create a material though consisting of these maps. So I need to right click on, let's say this one here, and say create material. It's not going to create a material. We're going to call this Sean Ceiling. I think that's the way you spell it. Yet again, I'm going to say it again. And we have a space, so we don't want that. Cool. Now we have that material. We do want to go in though and add in the normal and that. So I double click on it, and it's going to bring up our material editor here. And I'm just going to open the content drawer from here, and we're going to add in those two other maps here, the normal and the ORM. Let's just open that again and drag it over here just so we have a place. And I'm going to take the normal map and plug that into the normal channel. You'll see it change up here on the left to have the bump and everything, which looks great. And then the ORM is basically our roughness and the ambient occlusion and the M1 that I can't remember. So we're going to take RGB just as ORM. That's what comes out here. So we're going to go O, which is going to be our occlusion, which is going to go right into here. And the R is going to be the roughness, which goes into here. And the M, which is the B, the M is the metallic. And that's going to go in here, and you'll see our complete material should look good here, or at least close enough to what it originally started out as. And then we apply and save, we will have that material in our content drawer all good to go. I'm just going to close that up. And now we can open up the content drawer again where that material is and just take this and drag it and let it go, and now it's on our thing. This looks like crap though because we are looking at everything in unlit mode. So let's turn on the lights. Pow. And there is our material with not a whole lot of lighting on it. We can change the tiling of that to get a much better, happier feel. But not that I'm going for a happy feel, but you get the idea. And yeah, so that's that so far. I'm going to start duplicating now these ceiling tiles. And I believe you just click A, and we're also going to turn on the snapping so that when I click and drag these, they will snap to the corners if the resolution of the snapping is set correctly. And so that should snap, but I'm not seeing any snap. Interesting. So let's figure out why. I'm just gonna undo that, do that. Nope, we're gonna redo that because I actually undid the material. We don't want to screw up the material. So Alt drag should have created a new one, and now we should get the snap. If we don't, that's fine. I'll just figure the snapping out at some point, but I really would like to because it makes it a lot faster for moving your stuff around. See, it pops together like that. Exactly what we wanted. So now, you see why I have the lights turned on though, because it's a lot easier to tell where stuff is, if it's far enough over. And I'm noticing there's not really tiling all that great. It's definitely not an infinite material. And I might even want to make it smaller of a pattern, because that looks a bit strange. One thing I'd like to do though is I'm going to turn this light around and kind of get a light on it to see really what we're looking at. We'd have to remake the lighting though, it looks like. So what I'm going to do is undo that, and I'm going to just bring in, this is for testing purposes, just another point light. And when I do, you can see how that's affecting, the light is affecting the ceiling. It actually looks pretty good. It's a little wet though, looking at that. I mean, that's some pretty slimy looking ceiling, which we don't really want that. The easiest way to do that is just come in here and double click back in to where we're at, and either I can take off the roughness, or I can add in a multiplier somewhere in between here to determine how wet that is, or I could go back in the sampler and fix it here and say, hey, that is way too slimy, let's make it more rough, and it will make it more rough, which in my opinion is the best way. So we're just going to go ahead and export them out one more time, and this will be the same thing. I'm just going to make sure that's right there, and we're going to say, Sean ceiling 1, and it may ask me to override it, might not. If it doesn't, that just means it created new ones. But see, this already exists. You want to do, I'm going to say replace all. So it's going to export those. We're going to come back over here to Unreal. I don't believe it automatically refreshes this, so I'm going to have to re-import those into our content drawer right here. Let me just close this for the moment. No, for now. And I'm just going to bring these back in to here using where we were, and I believe I called that VR gallery. VR gallery, and then we can just go up here and say, hey, look, there's our new ones. Let's just drag these back over now, and they should overwrite, as far as I know. Looks like they did. And now we can just, yeah, so you can see it's a lot less slimy looking. Nobody likes a slimy ceiling, I always say. And so that looks good. Everything is as it should be. At some point we might even raise these walls up, which is fine that they're lower. I don't mind because it lets light kind of cast through here. You can kind of get your bearings as to where you are. Yeah, that's one one or two, that's two ceiling tiles, and two ceiling tiles. Let's go ahead and get some of the other ones here laid out. And like I said, I'm going to turn this back to unlit mode. It's a lot easier to see what's going on. Up here we won't be able to see any of it because that's covered with that floor texture. So we're gonna have to work from down here and just get those duplicated by clicking them out and then snapping them together again. That looks like it covers that pretty good. And we'll do at least one or two more here. Just alt drag that dude there. There we go. And I just move around to make sure that I've covered the things that need to be covered. And if for some reason there's a gap, well, we just make another one like that and drag it out, and now it's covered. The thing is, though, I do plan to kind of expand at some point, and we can expand past these walls to another place. Like if you can see, it's already been expanded on the outside to some degree. As you fly over here, you can see I've been working on a little bit of, let me just speed this camera up, some stuff over here. These are expansion areas. You can get to this by walking, but there is a little barrier that I had set up here that you can, I open this up and now you can come back here if you want to, but I'm going to put a blocking volume until we open that up so nobody can go in there and look at things I'm working on. But in the meantime, everybody can come here and see all my artwork or sculptures or whatever. And these are none of these are mine. These are default objects that are just thrown in there until we decide to change the world up again. But for now, we're going to keep adding our ceiling in here. Eventually, we may even put holes in that ceiling to, you know, leave places for odd, interesting expansions and stuff as well. I was thinking about leaving this whole area open all the way up, kind of like a grand hall. That is quite a possibility because I think that would look nice, kind of like the image I'm using, the thumbnail image for this video. So we'll see. So I think right now what I'm going to wind up doing is probably just selecting all these tiles that go all the way over and just duplicating them as a unit. You can also group these things together by go into group, and then now when I move them or duplicate them, they'll do it all together. So now I'm just going to Control D those guys, and now we can move them as one, and this gets the job done way faster. I'm going to turn off the snapping real quick here so I can kind of put those together a little closer. Hopefully with the snapping on now, it'll continue to snap to the edge of the piece and not the grid of the world. And that being because I don't want that grid to determine where I decide to put, you know, my ceiling. Let me see, have I done something wrong? What is going on here? Okay, there we go. I think I moved everything, but now I'm concerned that, let me just undo that. And now that that has been moved, you can see there is a slight gap right there. Not a big deal, but light will come through there and look pretty horrible. So I'll turn that snapping back off and just go close that gap. And now I can continue duplicating this floor. I think I might have had a double duplication on the last one, but we'll find out. And that's fine. If it's not perfectly moved, it's not killing anything, luckily. As long as it doesn't kill me. I mean, that's my big concern. And I'm just going to come to where I can see. I'm going to slow down our camera just slightly more so we can kind of precisely move to see what's going on here. It lets me align my eye to it better. And we got a few more repetitions here. I could have done the whole floor, but I kind of like to do this one piece at a time, figure out, you know, what really should be being done. And we'll duplicate that one more time. And I hope that, you know, the computers can run this because if I get it too large, I mean, it'll be taxing to some systems because I have too many objects in here. That's why I'm duplicating the floors. That way, you know, it uses that as like an instance. As far as I know, it is making an instance. I could be wrong and just filling up, you know, way too much space, burning up all the RAM. But as far as I know, I am creating instances here, which is very important. And it looks like we're good to go there. Now, as far as carrying this over, I don't know if I'm going to do it all the way. You can see, I don't know if I'm going to do it all the way. It's definitely going to have an open area. So let's turn on our lights again here and just kind of see where we are at with everything. That's working. I need to build a staircase though. I'm just going to fly around and go through the walls here for now. And I'm going to figure out, because the staircase should really go here. We also need to do some wall extensions here, so we don't have that big gap going all the way to the outside. Even though you can come out through here eventually. I'm not sure how I'm going to go about that or what I'm going to do with that just yet. Nothing else. Let's make the freaking stairs though. And I need to figure out scale-wise how big those should be. I'm going to see if I can add a mannequin in here. Let's just see. Import content, or do I want to go to basic actor character? Yeah. I think I just want... I think I can do a character. No, that's just the thing. I need a what is it called? Just a mannequin here, just a dummy, to see a scale reference. So character, boom. No, not gonna do it from there. It needs to be an actual mesh here. So I'm gonna try and add this actor, but I think that yeah, not like that. This needs to be an actual dummy. So I probably can get it out of my browser now that I think about it. Let's see, trigger box we're going to be using, by the way, for setting off sounds and different things like that, making movies play. Cinematic, let's see, all classes. Actor character we've already looked at, so I'm going to see if I can just bring. I think the dummy is in my content here somewhere. There's characters, so he should be right here. Mannequins, mannequin, open here. We just want a standard mesh. That's a hand. We don't want a hand. I mean, that's pretty cool. You can reach out and grab stuff, probably is what this is going to be used for, but I don't see a standard mannequin just in here. So you know what, it'll be okay for the moment, because I know that everything needs to be based on this capsule being approximately 6 foot tall. That's what counts. So everything looks as though it should in that regard. So I'm going to add some cubes and stuff and make some stairs here. So we're going to go into modeling mode, because it's not just going to be some nasty thing. And also, if I go into, and there's Quixel Bridge, I wish Fab was available in here, because they have other things. Let's check Quixel Bridge real quick. Of course, Fab, I think Marketplace is Fab. I only want free stuff in here, but let's check in Quixel Bridge if they happen to have maybe a standard staircase. A wooden one would be nice, because that's kind of like a style I would use for putting in my mind. I got to remember, this isn't the standard public gallery. It's sort of like you being in my house, but way big with a whole lot of cool stuff, and anything I want. So there's that. So I'm going to go here and I'm just going to type in staircase. These are looking pretty promising. At least a couple of them. I like the modular stairs kit. Let's have a look at it. Just going to pull this up to see what we're dealing with here. To get railings. Let's go ahead and download that in a... Let's do medium quality only because this is VR. I'm sure you guys are loving hearing me chew. Okay, let's just add it to our project. Or, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this real quick. I'm going to go to our content drawer where we put this. It's going to be in our... Close up the engine. We should have a Megascan folder. I'm not seeing it though. Don't know why. That's a little weird. Okay, so let's go back into the Quixel bridge here real quick. And now that that's there, I'm going to just click add, because that's probably what I did not do. Duh. And then we're gonna, there we go. That's exactly what I didn't do. And modular stairs, it's gonna bring up all these parts. We're gonna wait for them to load so I can see what I'm dragging into our world. I'm gonna go ahead and close the bridge there. And once these load up, we can see what they are. We got our ORM map, we got our normal map, got our colors there, our, you know, our, and then there's our material. There's our variation that says, I'm just going to drag this piece in and see what it looks like into the light, Caroline. And just kind of come over here and have a look. Looks like the base of the stairs. I'm not seeing materials, but it could be because it's still populating for all I know. I'm just going to drag that material on it in case. Lighting needs to be rebuilt, it's saying, but yeah, I know. Let's turn the lighting off for now because this will give us a little better. There we go. Yeah, that's pretty beautiful. I'm going to look at the different pieces here because I don't know which pieces are, you know, for what the modular system consists of here. Just going to move this back until I figure out how this should be put back together. Something wrong?
I just dropped my baby's body.
Oh. We'll go this way and see what's up with this. So generally, these are one piece, but because I don't know how high exactly this needs to reach, I'm going to do it as a modular setup here. And let's just, there we go. Some of the navigation sometimes within Unreal is unreal. Let's see. I'm going to have to slow my camera down just a little more here real quick. Oops. Just slow that down as much as possible. That way when I move, see, it's very slow and I can kind of get a nice representation here of what I want to see. Okay, that's good enough probably for that. Let's go ahead and speed the camera up just slightly more, I hope. There we go. All right, cool. And let's add the next piece. So back to our Megascans modular staircase. You can see that piece. I believe that was the top of the stairs though. So I did all that aligning only to find out that, yeah, that's the top. So let's take the top. We're going to just move it up.
Do you want a salad or spaghetti for lunch?
Oh, the spaghetti's fine. Sorry, we're talking about eating some food, so I'm just going to get this to a point where I know this is going to be at the top of our stairs. And then I got to figure out where we're putting the entire staircase, of course. Let's just move up and figure out where this lands on our floor up here. I don't know exactly how big this needs to be or anything. I won't know until I know. So I'm just going to stick this here to start with, and then we'll figure it out as we go. But that'll be essentially the top, the landing. That's probably going to have to be moved quite a bit back given the incline it's going to have. So that says part 3. This looks like a middle landing section. So that's obviously going to go somewhat in the middle. Let's go ahead and go down here and back. Figure out where. I'm going to turn off my little widgets here. There we go. And then now I can see things a little bit better. So you can see how this is starting to come together. The third, so we got the top, the bottom, the middle. Now let's try and see what this is. I have no clue. And let's try this bit. That's the one I'm really concerned about. Not sure. I think that stone piece goes under the middle, but I don't think I might be using that. I'm just going to delete it for now and get it out of the way. Because this is a, it's fantastical, so, you know, we don't need no stinking nails. Let's move this, yeah, right in line, and then I'll align everything this way. See those little VR goggles laying on the floor over there behind the staircase right there? Yeah, that's basically representative of our head, our character start position once we get in VR, which I will have to show you guys because it's pretty cool to be able to walk around as though it's really there. I'm just trying to align a little bit at a time here until I figure out exactly where this needs to go. We'll probably go back to the top here now again and try to sort out exactly. Slow the camera down again. Ooh, I was speeding it up, so give me a sec. There we go. Slow it down even more. That's pretty darn slow, my friends. Wow, I didn't even know you could get it that slow. Alright, so once this comes together here, right about there, I'll kind of know that it's approximately where it needs to be. Just move this around until I see those sort of meet up. And then line it this way best I can until it makes some sense. I know it's probably not going to be perfect still in some other direction. There we go. So now we'll go down here and we'll get the height, the up and down of where it's supposed to meet, and then a little bit more back and forth here, a little, looks like it, maybe a little higher again. So yeah, it's a big like fidgeting around until it's right. Yeah, looking at it from multiple angles is going to help greatly. So you can see there's still a gap in there. Let me just get this back to where it's going to actually be usable. And I'll move this a little more in. And if it's not perfect, it's going to be fine because they match up pretty well. I don't know why this doesn't snap, and it could be that I have snapping turned off of all things. Let's turn that back on and see if that makes a difference here, because it might pop away and then pop back. No, it's just popping back to where it wants to. So cool. Or where we had it. So totally fine. That will work for us at the moment. And then I have to figure out, like I said, where to put the middle section and then the rest. So let's go ahead and speed our camera up just a little bit more and start getting into a better place here. Aligning this portion of it. It's tedious, but it's worth it. Don't know exactly where that needs to be until they get to a closer spot. That is not bad so far. And let's just get it over and hope it pops into place. Nope, it's gonna have to be snapped off or snapped at lesser snapping. You can set this at 5, 1, whatever. So let's move to 5, and let's just knock this down now at 5. Oh, sorry, that was the angle at 5. Let's just knock this down to 1 then, and figure out if we can work with that. Maybe. It's not horrible. And move it back and forth until it's right. Very tedious. And then up until it's right. Yeah, we'll probably wind up having to come in here and positioning it correctly either way. I'm just gonna check about here. You can see that that's off, so we're gonna turn the snapping off now, and I'm just gonna go back here and tweak it to be much better. Kinda right there, and that looks not horrible but not perfect. I know I'm being a perfectionist, but you know, some things totally worth it. Let's just get our zoom down a little slower. Okay, that's about okay. And get this in to about there, and then down slightly to ish. Okay, so it looks like it's not gonna go perfectly until we come over to the top and figure out just how left or right that needs to be aligned as well. So speed up our camera a little bit and get up there, and you can see now that needs to be pushed over to the right slightly. Let me get this out of the way. Yeah, out of the way would be good. Where is our widget for moving it? Which I am all of a sudden not seeing. There we go. Alright, thanks. There we go. And let's get this the left and right of it. This one's going to be kind of hard to figure out because of the steps, so I'm going to have to look at this step here. Yeah, there we go. And that'll tell me just how much that is off. A little bit. Ooh, I don't know what that is by moving up and down, I think, as opposed to side to side. We need the other axis here. Not enough screen space. It's like 65 inches, but still not enough. No comment. That was a joke waiting to happen, I realize. Okay, so here, let me try an angle to get the other axis. There we go. We want that green one right there. And just kind of pull that over and then back over just slightly. I'm taking so much time with this just because if this is right, then I don't have to worry about it later when I make multiples. Okay, cool. So there is our landing now and our start and base and the way up. So now we need probably gonna be a couple more links of that stair is what I'm thinking. So as I duplicate this piece, let's go edit to duplicate or Control D. We're going to move this over. Let's get our camera a little faster. I'm going to go Control D on that. Try to get this a little more. I'm going to turn on the snapping just for getting a little faster, closer. And we're going to get this as close as possible. Something like that. Let's see how close we got it. Looks pretty good from the side, but it may not be this way. Is that going to work for now? Yeah, it's like 1 degree or something off. So I'm just going to take this and knock it down to like 1. And then I'm going to lift this up and down until it looks right, which it's not doing. So we have to turn that off and do it by hand. You can see that little separation right there. Turn this off. Perfect it. And now push it downward very slightly. Close enough. Okay, cool. So that's the next section of stairs. We can already tell it's not going to meet where we want it to. So if I come up here and look, yeah, see. Now, we could have just brought the stairs without this middle section. I just really like that middle section, to be honest. So let's go ahead and create another probably section of the stairs. Hopefully this is just all going to work out in the end. And we'll take that one and we'll duplicate that one, attach it, and see what happens. Right there. Just I'm going to kind of try to find a general placement for this. as to where about it will come up through the floor. And what I might have wanted to do is made my ceiling lower or something to get that to come up correctly. But we'll find out. Let's just get this piece over there. And if everything works out, then it does. If it does not, then we will know. We'll just have to move stuff around. I'm not looking forward to, however, moving the upper level down because it's too high up or something. But hey, we'll do what we have to do. So you can already see we're not up enough. So I'm going to put this like so, this like so. Now, if I do drop the upper floor, the problem with this is it will cut into the lights of the lower floor. We can move all the lights down, but then that way we're going to have to reposition all the lights. I kind of want higher ceilings anyway, so I think the real solution is just to make a taller dang staircase. And that would consist of possibly, we'll move that, maybe just creating another section or adding this few steps by duplicating this. And that's what I'm going to check. I'm just going to duplicate this guy, and if this works, then I can put it in the middle of the next section and then put the rest of the stuff at the top. So we're going to find out. I'm just going to stick it at the end first. It's going to kind of determine the overall height before we do anything drastic. And we'll get that in here and see if that's going to be tall enough as an end result. And it does not look like it. So, because this will wind up here, this will wind up here. And what we really need to do is be able to see the steps. Well, you know what? Maybe it is. Because that is just barely below. And we could bring that there and then take this bit here and have that be the final riser. The Paul riser even. And that was a joke about Paul Reiser, the actor. Okay, we'll do that. And that's looking almost perfect. If I get that like so, we can always, use that as a step off. And all we have to do is delete or change the size of this floor piece. And I might, I think I'm going to swap this into the stair or this into the riser here and the piece coming up. But either way, the end will stay exactly where it's at. So that means I can scale this guy. Let's get that done. If I can find it, there it is. We can scale this guy back this way to leave the opening for those stairs all the way up. That'll look great as soon as I get over here to where I can see what I'm doing. And see, the navigation just kind of, it's cool, but it throws me sometimes. I'm like, where am I at and what am I doing? Okay, and we'll just come over here. Try to get this more. Let me turn off the snapping of pretty much everything. Just move that. No, we need scaling, of course. And I'm just going to slowly try to inch this up. Let's see where that's at now. And if it's in the right place, then we're good to go. So let's find out. That's close enough for government work, I think they say. Maybe back just a little bit. So, what a bummer. Let's just take... See what a pain in the butt that is. I have to be able to see this and see that at the same time. Yay. Let's just knock that back just a tiny bit. Never was a big gamer, so my control ability is not as good as it should be. It's pretty good in Unreal. I mean, not in Unreal, but in Grand Theft Auto, I'll tell you what. Compared to some people. Anyway, there's no audience, so it's hard to make jokes. Cool. That is almost right, but not. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all my stair pieces and move these forward. just the amount they need to be moved. And people say I'm not accommodating. Please. Okay, cool. There's that. Oh, we got that one too, right? Yep, okay. That should all be able now to move forward just the exact amount we need. Move up a little bit. Oh, Lord. Okay, move up just a little bit. You can see my ultra skills here with the navigation. So I'm now deciding that the staircase probably should be out more or something, so it's not right up against the wall, maybe. But then again, it'd be kind of cool if it had space, but so you could see the paintings from above too, or whatever you needed to do. I've got to think about that now, I suppose. Probably should move this fire extinguisher because it's not going to do much good there. Also, I need to make these wall tiles here. They're going to have to come out more so toward the staircase, I believe, because these doors are kind of left looking a little weird because there's nothing under them. We'll go here to the modeling tab. We will go to our model. Gonna select this one only, and I don't see how that can be polygon. It's probably because they're in a group. Oh, there we go. I can just take this, which it's not letting me, oddly enough. Maybe because it's in a group. It's not letting me edit. So that's probably what's going on. So I'll probably need to ungroup this back in selection mode. And we're going to go here to group and groups, and we're going to say ungroup. And now I should be able to select just the one piece. We go back into modeling mode, and then I can select the model and polygroup edit and select just a single polygroup here. What a pain. And we just need to pull this over enough to, you know, account for that doorway. You just pull back a little bit like that and get that maybe to there. That looks fine for me. And we'll just have to do the same thing with the floor. Is this? Yeah, perfect. Like this. Yeah, cool. And then that's fine there. This one will be possibly need to be re-added if it's been removed. I don't think it was, but it looks like either it was or it's being covered up by this guy. So I'm just going to double check. Nope, it is not being covered up by that guy. So we're going to undo that. There we go. And we're going to duplicate this one, I guess, over because somehow that floor tile was removed. So now we're going to go edit, duplicate, and I'm just going to move that one this way enough to cover everything up. And if it overlaps, it does, it's fine. And I think this is good. We just need to make sure that this isn't sticking out like that as well. And that one might need to also have its polygroup or its grouping broken. So we're going to go back to selection mode, take this guy and ungroup it as well. We can select just the one. We'll probably have to do the same thing all the way back, depending what's going to be seen. Yeah, see, that one sticks out too much. The rest of them I think will be fine, but this one should be pulled back, as you can see. And just that one. So we go back into modeling mode one more time, and down here, polygroup edit, grab that face and just push it back slightly. Whoops, I keep going the wrong direction on that up and down. And we'll go just back in here to some degree. I'm trying to match the other. Didn't really want any overhang either, so that's good. And we'll accept that for now. And cool. Now I'm going to go down here. I'm just going to take a look at what needs to be done. I think, honestly, I don't like this part here having no roof. So we need to duplicate our roof sections out to cover all of that. Let me just fly down here and see what is not selected. That guy, of course. And those look like they are, so I'm just going to duplicate that whole row. Edit, duplicate, which could just do Control D, and then we're going to move that whole piece right into my face here, and I'm going to move down until that's covered and that we don't leave a gap. Definitely on this side. There's a little one I can see right there. I'm just going to pull this back, and then I'm going to check and see if we've left a gap here, and it does not look like it in any way, so good. So now, back in over by our doorway, things look relatively good that way. Yeah, that looks okay. And then this way, though, we got all kinds of airspace that we need to figure out what we're doing with it and how. So let's just take a look, and hopefully this won't run slow because these textures are giant or something. Let's turn on the lights and see what it looks like. So back to selection, back to lit, and we'll just see. So there are no real lights on the stairs. That could help, right? We need some light, but that looks pretty great until, you know, we get the lights up on there and everything will look great going up and down the stairs. There's our fire safety. This is not here because we need it. This is here because my dad would have demanded it if this was real. And that's what counts. And it looks like we're missing, we might have a gap there. I don't know if that's a gap under the wall, which it looks kind of like it is. We'll have to address that here shortly. Yeah, it's an actual, I don't know what that is. The material maybe that's a silver strip on the wall, I think. Yeah, weird. It's hard to see. So let's go ahead and add some lighting. We probably have to rebuild the lights, so that's what I'm going to do now. It takes a minute, so bear with it. And let's go ahead here and build. This might even take 10 minutes, who knows. Build lighting only, just bear with me. And I'll be right back. Alright, as you can see, there are some errors, but we ignore those. There is some lighting happening here, finally, on our stairs. A little bit. We're going to do some more, of course. That's not nearly enough, in my opinion. But that just really depends on the effect that I'm going to want to have overall when we start really figuring out what's going on in here. I need, the walls lit to some degree, when we have any hanging art. But also I'm going to be building a lot of stuff that is not just hanging wall art. I mean sculptures, animated sculptures. There'll be movies, screens, and all kinds of stuff to watch. Right now, I'm going to duplicate this part and pull a piece over. Let's just get out in a better place here. And just I'm going to put it on unlit mode so I can see what I'm doing a little easier. And just start adjusting some of this a little better. And seeing these ones definitely need to be duplicated. And of course adjusted to where there is no gap like we have here. I'll worry about that gap in a minute though. And just going to try and turn on our snapping and see if that will increase our speed of building this dude. Close enough. That's how far over we are. Right now I'm not worried about the outside of this until we get there, because that's for a rainy day, as they say. That's going to be the expansion stuff. Let's get this degree done by about 10. Close enough there. These need to be brought down because obviously they're literally through the roof. Unless that is where that ends. I'm going to double check here by pushing down. Yeah, see, we don't even have flooring there, so that's okay. Let's just undo that for now. This does need to go. Duplicate one over and hope it doesn't cut through the flooring. Okay, perfect. And something like that. I'm just trying to close up any of these extra gaps that we could see from down here. This whole point here, when you're standing here and you start everything out, that looks nice and clean. Obviously we have a bit of an issue there, so we're just going to pull this wall forward. We'll never see that. And I might put some type of a walking pathway here, because that's gonna not be enough for people to walk and look around, and it wouldn't hurt to have one hanging over there either, because that's a weird kind of thing to see. Plus we could just extend all these walls up to keep any of that from being messed with. Let's just try to see how that goes. So I'm going to go into modeling mode here again. Don't expect me to start voguing, because that's not what I meant. Now these are just those are just standard cubes, it looks like, because when I go into polygroup edit, they do not have a separate polygroups there for that. So these would be a pain in the butt to change. So I think what I'll wind up doing, and it might be somewhat okay, is to duplicate that one, and then here in selection mode, move that one up Here we go. And see what, you figure out where my, there it is, move, not the other, and move this one up to kind of close the gap, mind the gap, and see how that goes. And we'll rescale from the top of this wall. Like I said, this being a duplicate now, it's going to be a lot easier to size and stuff, I believe. And if we push this one right through, so you won't even have that bottom edge piece. And that should look okay as long as I start off making this guy. Let's just go ahead and scale it down. And this should scale from there, so that won't give us any problems. Like that. Yeah, I think that works. I'm trying to figure out, though, why that's shifted over. So I'll just try to snap that one back into place. Maybe. And then I think we can just alt drag that over as well. Should snap. It's time to snap. Okay, we'll do the same thing here. I'll just keep going until I hit a curve or something that I can't do this with. And I might want to, I mean, it's kind of cool that that floor piece acts as almost like trim, so I'll probably have to figure out a better, cleaner way of doing that where these floors all meet up. Not a problem though. And alt drag this one as well. And swing around. See, we're going to have a curved wall we're going to have to duplicate here in a bit. And just need to figure out which piece it is. Okay, that's perfect. This one will duplicate and move forward as well. And you know, this is all about what do I want my mind to look like, or what do I want to show you that I feel that it looks like. It's really what it's about. I'm gonna go ahead and let's see. There we go. I'm just trying to see through to that widget there, and I should say gizmo, really. And we're gonna go ahead and duplicate this one again. I think that that's closed up correctly, and let me just double check. Can't tell sometimes until you're right on the split. So I think that one's right now. And then I believe the curved wall is already ready to go now. Yep. So we can duplicate, drag this one up, get that one right on the top to where the little ridged thing there disappears, and then I can scale this down to be the correct height. Just like this. Boom, 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 boom. We'll get it down to somewhere here. And I'm going to double check real quick that that's true. Not sure what I am scaling there. Let's try this. That might have just been the edge of it, strangely enough. I'm going to go up here and see what we've got going on higher up. I think that's all correct. Looks like it. Okay, fine with me as long as it works. And you notice there's kind of a thing, but with this corner, I think what I might do is just drop this down to be kind of at the same height as my other wall. We double check that it is. Little tiny bit less, and then now that leave that gray sticking where it does. It's got the little edging there. Okay, there's something going on with this bit here though. They need to kind of come out or something just slightly. I think that's better, but I don't think it's perfect. And then these, I'm not sure how to deal with that corner. Maybe I don't need to, because that's going to wind up being part of the roof, so that's probably okay. I'm going to go up here and just kind of see how these are laid out, and that doesn't really matter. Cool. So this can be extended out here just to finish off the floor however we need. Works for me for now. Cool. Alright, so we'll worry about the roof in a moment for over there. Just kind of come back over here and check everything out. These walls will wind up duping and being extended as well, apparently. But for now, let's just go back here and see what it looks like. I don't know why this section looks a little different than the others, but when we turn on the lights, maybe it won't be messed up. I think it's probably okay, it looks like. I need to rebake my lighting because I'm sure that has something, if not a lot, to do with all that. So I think overall that's not bad. I didn't even realize there was an inset there. But I kind of like it. It looks okay to me. Fly down here. Okay, that's a little odd, this, because of the interpenetration. That's why that looks that way. If we move something slightly backwards or forwards, that won't be happening, but it's going to kind of mess with the what do you call it, overall actual position. I'm going to delete that because I don't think that's even part of my wall anymore. It was just part of the band that was the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and turn off snapping so I can figure out just how close these can be before they jack up. So I think that's okay there. Yeah, as far as I can tell, that's all right. So we need probably maybe a little more light. Ooh, we got some doubling problems there that I'll have to, evidently I'll have to deal with at some point here. Just kind of come over and look at what's really jacking up or not. It's okay if I push one up just a tiny bit higher or lower one just a tiny bit more than the other. It should stop doing that horrible thing. And honestly, I don't mind that these are up or down. They're not perfect scale or a size to each other, so that's why we've got that happening too. And well, they are, is why we have that problem, is what I'm saying. You can see that as this one goes up and down, it either penetrates or doesn't, and if it does, it'll flicker back and forth because they're at the exact same height as each other, like that one. And only when I'm moving. So if I take this one and just kind of pull it up slightly, but these will have to be broken from their group. So this will be ungroup. Now if I select one, push it a little bit lower, we will not get that problem, and so on. But these will, because they are still in their group, and on and on. Very strange the way it works, but it does work that way. You can see that these are much more stable over here. This one has kind of a little bit of a problem, but the second you move them even just a little bit, they don't. And in all honesty, it's given me a great idea for a look. It's just kind of pulling these up. Every now and then there's an up one, and every now and then there's a down one. It gives it a nice sort of offset look that I really kind of dig. So it works for me. Not a lot of people say the word dig anymore. That's for sure. Okay, cool. We're getting somewhere. So I think there needs to be some kind of light here. This piece is pretty, we're gonna put some kind of sculpture in the middle or something like that. Also, when you walk in or you start, you're gonna be starting kind of here. And I really honestly think this needs to have some nice, shiny, bright, maybe outdoor light coming in on it, just from one area with a lot of fog. And the way we'll have to do this, we'll have to have some, probably an actual sky and so forth, and then we'll have to build some type of, outside structure to keep this from just having sun blasting in the whole thing, because right now it would. So if you notice, if I go to here and we pick on, like, say, let me see if I can find our sky mixer. There should be, it's a new thing, so I gotta figure out where it's at. Basic lights, sky light. No, we need the mixer business here. Media plate, visual effects. Where are you at? That's interesting. Sky atmosphere. Maybe it's no, because it's going to be its own thing. So, good question. Let me scroll down here. There might be atmosphere mixer. I don't know that it's sky. Let me just look up here and go mixer. And nothing comes up. Cool. All right, well, that might be because it needs the plugin turned on. So we'll go to Window or Edit Plugins. We'll search for it, because that could be what it is. If you're not going to use a sky, one sky. I don't know what that means. Let's just do it. Open beta, blah, blah, blah. Let's just say yes. Don't know exactly if that's what I'm looking for, so I'm going to put in here mixer and see what comes up here. Nothing. That's interesting. Why is that? So I'm going to put atmosphere. Atmos, and nothing comes up there. Interesting. Okay, well, I know it exists. So we are in Unreal 5.4. I'm going to save just to be safe. And we're going to see what happens here. I've got to find where to do this. Sorry, I'm eating lunch while I'm doing this, so if it grosses you out, turn your sound down. But if I don't eat, I'll pass out. I do have a skylight here, but kind of curious. I must have it just turned off or down. I find this interesting because I'm just going to keep making that noise, I guess. The sky mixer or the atmosphere mixer, whatever it's called, should be right there, but I haven't used it in a while. So it's quite possible that I'm just missing it. I'm going to keep looking here. Viewports, outliner, virtual production, no. World partition, light mixer, that's what I'm looking for. We want to create an atmosphere, clouds, atmosphere, and height fog. But I am not seeing it's starting to populate. I'm seeing now. There's our clouds up there. I just don't know what. Oh, and I notice when I push things up, I push them through the ceiling, so that can't happen. Everything will have to be pulled down if it's going to be moved. So not a biggie. Just kind of go boop, boop, boop. There we go. Evidently, it looks like it's at night. I don't know why. I have to work this out. I mean, that's very cool and all, but not correct. Kind of wish that I had been much more organized in the beginning of this. Close this up, close this up. Just trying to see lights here. I'm just gonna go light, Okay, there's all my lights, which there are lots of them. The skylight here, I'm going to turn up the intensity scale. See, so it's bright. That's not the problem. It's the sky itself. So let's just go sky, atmosphere, height, multi-scattering, there, that. Got no real intensity here. Yeah, that's odd, because normally you have an intensity slider, and this is, I mean, it's kind of working. You know what it is probably that light is just the wrong angle. So I think Shift or Control L, sorry. Control L will give me the ability to decide where the angle of the light and everything. But if you notice, it's almost like there's a roof on this building, and I know there's not. You can see we do have a sky, but it's lit like night. I'm kind of confused by that. I'm going to put this that way because I know eventually it will need to be. The atmosphere is what we're doing now. It's like the sky itself is not bright enough, which is weird. Which never happens unless you make it. So I'm going to have to go through here and find what our sky consists of. Maybe I just need to rebuild the lighting again. So let's just rebuild the lighting again and find out as I chew my lunch in the microwave. Oh, sole mio. I mean, it is spaghetti. And for those of you concerned, it's low sodium spaghetti sauce and the whole grain noodles. It's acting like we don't have a skybox.
Why? What is that? Like it doesn't do the,
I'm broadcasting, you know.
oh, sorry.
There's no actual background. It's just black behind our clouds. So there's probably no fog, is probably what that is. So I'm going to go here into cinematic, nope, visual effects. We need probably the exponential height fog. Nope, I already had one. Then that means we need let's find out. I honestly do not know. pretty sure we have a skylight. We do. I'm going to get rid of this one just in case there's something wrong with that one, but I know there's not. Pretty confused. So that's part of it. Let's get rid of some of these lights, because I know there's a lot of these upstairs that we're just going to wind up not using the same way. So I'm going to go kind of get rid of a few of these. Because we doubled our lights, making this second floor. You can see there's so many. Oops. Definitely don't want to accidentally select a wall and delete that. Annoying. I'll be redoing all these lights anyway, but it's mainly the, I mean, there's a lot of them. Let's see, this particular one, if I delete it, it won't change because the lighting hasn't been rebuilt, but I can probably delete all of these and replace them all with what do you call it? Place them all with point lights, unless they specifically need, you know, what they have. Let's just go ahead and rebuild the lighting. It's going to make it pitch black in here probably. And it says still too many overlapping shadowed movable lights, which is not true. Okay, so that's starting to work. My sky is still not working though. You see these lights over here, these work because these are what do you call them? Point lights. I do need to come in here and check that my stairs work. I also need to get all of these ceiling tiles, which I don't even know. I really should have organized a lot better. These need to be duplicated, so need to be regrouped as well, so they can be duplicated, so I can make an actual second floor roof. I'm going to go into unlit mode because it's very hard to see, and just start selecting my roof tiles. That one's obviously too low. All those can be fixed. Yeah, I was recently told, well, I've been told it before, but I put people to sleep with my voice. I apologize if that's happening. I can't help being a major relaxing person. I wish. Okay, we can all dream. Gotta have a dream. Okay, that looks good. That should be, I think, all of those so far that are necessary. I'm gonna go ahead and just let me make sure those are selected, because I have a feeling there's a bunch left out. Yeah, there's a few over there. Good thing I checked. So go ahead and select this and this. I think that's everything. Okay, so now we're gonna duplicate that and move this up to create a roof. Yes, I'm barking like a dog. Roof. That will be our second roof. Looks like I left one behind. It's alright. Which one? That one. And it's just a matter of finding the one that should be there somewhere around this area, apparently. We'll just duplicate it as well. Pull it up. Hopefully that's the one we need to fill with. And use that. And we are relatively good to go. Okay, with the lights back on now, I really want to get my sky fixed, though. I do not know why it's at night. It never defaults to night, so it's pretty odd. And we're going to need to put some lights back in here too, because right now there's nothing and it looks horrible. So let's get, we need our shading here. I'm also going to go back and look for lights in general and just delete them all for the moment. And restart over with the lighting. Light, there we go. Directional, we'll leave that one. Light mask, we'll leave that. These here, and we'll take everything out except for the point light and see what happens. This one, what is that one coming from? Mass and light. Interesting. Let's go to the details. and see what we've got. I'm gonna go with real-time capture. So I mean, the shine is good, but yeah, I don't know what's happening with that. With the sky. If I turn off this light mass importance, it does not fix it. My directional light turns off completely, and my sky light, you know, that's what's lighting everything there. Oh, a little odd. Lot odd. Why are my sky, isn't my sky working? I do not know. So I do not know. I'm a little confused. I'm not even sure why we're getting oddness in all of that. Well, interesting. I think I'm going to just copy these over to start with. Let's go ahead and duplicate these. Just move them over for now. Could probably just get rid of the ones. Just go ahead and ungroup all these guys. Where's my grouping? Here we go. Ungroup, so that Shift G will ungroup. So Shift G, and the same, just to get rid of these groups, so I can come through here and individually delete these. That should not leave us any gaps, and if it does, I can just extend the size of those a little bit. Just delete those. And now we have to figure out what's going on with all this, and I'm sure that has to do with the light importance, volume, and all that, which I am not even sure, you know, what that's about. I mean, that works great here. We need to turn off our what you call it as well. We'll go to the post process, I think, and that will take care of that. Make sure that we've got infinite bounds and all that selected on our here we go, infinite bounds. So why are we getting aperture? Let's go ahead here and go in auto exposure is what it is. There we go. We'll turn that off, and we'll turn this on to what we want it to be. And that looks pretty good. It looks like we still have something odd going on with the lighting, unless that just has to be rebuilt. Things are a little odd with the floor. Huh. Okay. We don't want that going on. We want to go to manual, and then we want to pull up the compensation of it, I think. Let's see, yeah, because there is no lighting otherwise. Put this at 0, probably it would allow for the standard stuff to be there. But I do not understand the coloring of the floor having changed at this point, and we have no sky either, so I'll go ahead and pop the exposure compensation back up I find that odd about the sky still. So sky atmosphere is doing nothing here. I am just messing around at this point. Visible. That is odd, to say the least. I wonder if I delete this. That seems to make no difference. I'm going to go ahead and undo that. I'm going to go ahead and bake the lighting one more time. And then I'm going to put on the headset and see what we got going on. It is something to do. See, what is up with that? I can't figure out that moves while I'm moving around. That's weird. None of that business right there should be happening. Huh. Okay. I'm going to get rid of our sky, light, and atmosphere. I'm going to also, I have to scroll through here. I should have put those in a folder by themselves. I'm just going to scroll down until I see things like our post-process volume. Just delete all that stuff. Start over. I obviously clicked on something I should not have. That's what I would be told by other people. Let's get rid of this directional light. Exponential height fog. Get rid of those. I don't even know what those are for at the moment. Get rid of that. Okay. Just keep going until I figure out what it is I'm doing here. That's fine. These are just meshes. It's another fine mesh you've gotten me into. Spherical reflection captures. I guess we'll leave those all in here. I usually use one. Okay, and now I'm going to rebuild that lighting. See what happens. I'm sure it'll look like horrid dog crap. So I did delete something, so I'm going to go back and check. Now I'm going to put my lighting back in. Point light, direction light. Oh no, these are just regular lights. Hang on. I need like the sky mixer, whatever the heck it's called. How annoying. I'll be honest with you, I don't know what I've done. There's light mixer, but that's not the thing we need. I need see. It's like an atmosphere mixer or a grader or whatever, and it's killing me that this, I'm not seeing it. It's like a whole thing that you just drop in and then you pick. What in the world? I'll have to look for it later, I guess. I'm going to now, though, just add those in separately, I suppose, because it seems like all I'm really able to do. I know we have a post-process volume in here, right? Just put all. Evidently, we do not. Actually, look in here is what I need to be looking in. Post process volume. We do not. We have to have that. So let's go into cinematic or visual effects. We add that. We're going to set you to infinite bounds. And then re-add in sky atmosphere, which doesn't seem to be doing much. And that's the standard, but I don't see it really working. I'm going to come up and out to make sure I'm looking at this guy. And now we can add in our volumetric clouds. We can add in our exponential height fog, as well as we'll add in a skylight, and I don't know why none of this is working, and a directional light. See, we have no actual sky. That is eluding me. Just go ahead and rebuild the lighting. See what happens. I've never had this problem. Still, something is odd. Something is very odd. There are no shadows and lots of screwed up everything. Cool. Well, this has been fun. I'll get back to you guys soon.